Hello students, this video lecture will cover the final paper of the semester, your mini-comic and rationale. One of the first things to remember about this assignment is that it is a two-step assignment. During this last section of the course, we have read Day Tripper and analyzed its themes. In addition to analyzing the content of Fabio Moon and Gabriel Ba's book, we have discussed how the book works as a piece of visual art. This assignment asks you to use both of these elements to craft a mini comic and write a rationale explaining how your comic relates to Day Tripper. In essence, this assignment has two major parts. One, you will create a 6-panel mini comic, and two, you will write a 2 to 3 page rationale that explains and defends the choices you made in creating your mini comic. So let's look at the first part of the assignment, the mini comic. You will create a 6-panel mini comic where you write one more death scene for Brass. This death scene should be placed in the timeline of the book. Your death should be considered like another chapter. If the book was 11 chapters, this would be your chapter. Your scene can fit in at any moment of the book, but you should be able to explain how it relates and connects to major events of the book, such as Jorge's death. Is Bras married to Anna? Does he have his son already? Is the father still alive? Is he still dating Linda? You have to think, how would this be inserted into the story that you read? In addition, your 6-panel comic should only cover the death scene. You do not need to write a whole chapter, you are just writing the scene where Bras dies. This death scene should be one that you create originally, but it must relate to one of the themes of the book that we have discussed in class. In addition, you will use at least 3 of the comic techniques we have discussed in relation to Day Tripper. These are such things as captions, word balloon, choice of image, choice of frame, and so forth. This mini comic should be uploaded as a PDF or picture when you submit the assignment. So here's a brief example of what I mean when I say that art is not a graded component of this assignment. If you look at the example here, this is a simple stick figure picture. This style of art is perfectly acceptable to complete the assignment with a passing and successful grade. Right? Art is not graded. How well you are at drawing or anything like that is not a part of the assignment. However, you do need to use 3 comic book techniques. If you look at the example, we see close-ups, we see change of image, we see word balloons, we see a caption, we see an issue of framing. So this uses at least 3 comic book techniques, even though it is a simple stick figure drawing, and not even a good stick figure drawing at that. So along with your mini comic, you will then write a rationale. You will write a 2 to 3 page rationale that explains and defends your mini comic. This rationale is a piece of formal writing, so should include an introduction, body, conclusion. You should have spent time revising your language for clarity, and you should have an MLA citation, both in-text citations from the book Day Tripper and a works cited entry for the book Day Tripper. This rationale has 2 major goals. 1, you should present an analysis of a theme from Day Tripper, and 2, explain how your mini comic relates to this theme. So let's look at the introduction. Your introduction to the rationale should include a brief summary of the book that mentions the authors, characters, and is at most 3 to 4 sentences long, no more. Then the last sentence of your introduction should be a thesis statement. Your thesis statement for the rationale should explain how your mini comic is connected to one of the themes discussed in class. Make sure to clearly articulate what theme from the book you selected and how your death scene connects to this theme. Rationale, body paragraphs. Body paragraph number 1. Your first body paragraph should demonstrate your knowledge of a theme from Day Tripper. This body paragraph, the first body paragraph of the rationale, should solely focus on the book. Right? Think of this as a mini example of the many times you have used evidence throughout the semester. I want you to do the same thing here. So this body paragraph should demonstrate and prove your knowledge of the theme you selected from Day Tripper. You may choose any theme we discussed in class. This body paragraph should have a topic sentence, which you articulate clearly what a theme from Day Tripper is. Then your evidence should go to support this topic sentence. You should use our normal pattern of discussing evidence that we have used from the beginning of the semester. If you remember, this is the three-step process of introducing the evidence, clearly explaining and quoting the evidence using MLA in-text citation, and then having a two-step explanation of the evidence where you tell me what is important about the evidence and then how this evidence relates to the theme. Body paragraph number 2 should explain how your mini comic connects to the theme in Day Tripper. Your second paragraph should demonstrate how your mini comic relates to a theme from the book. Your topic sentence should be a clear statement of how your mini comic, the death scene you created, connects and relates to a theme from Day Tripper. You are telling me how the death scene you wrote would relate to one of the themes we discussed in class. After addressing that in your topic sentence, the evidence you should use should be from your mini comic. Here is where you explain to me how your mini comic relates to the book. Right? So you should introduce your death scene. You should tell me about what the comic scene you wrote and created is. You should explain what is important about this scene that you created, and then explain how your scene relates to the theme you selected from the book. This is the second body paragraph. Finally, conclusion. Your conclusion for your rationale should discuss the decisions you made about your comic. In your conclusion, I would like you to tell me what 3 comic techniques you used: caption, word balloon, frame, choice of image, etc. You should tell me where your death scene fits in the narrative of Brass's life. And then finally, you should tell me why you decided to essentially kill Brass in the way you did. How does this death that you selected have a thematic resonance to something from the book? Some final thoughts to help you complete the assignment. Make sure you download the blank panels from Blackboard. You may find this in the major assignments section. Make sure that when you are submitting your assignment to attach both your mini comic and the rationale when submitting the assignment. You need to make sure that you do both. 3, make sure that all the evidence from Day Tripper has an in-text citation. If you're quoting it for your evidence, use the page number and do an in-text citation. Examples of this can be found on all of the PowerPoints relating to the book. Next, make sure you create a works cited page for Day Tripper. You are using it as evidence, so it needs to have a works cited page. Revise your paper for clarity. Remember, the rationale is a formal assignment. And finally, submit the entire thing by the deadline of May 24th. All right. Earlier, of course, is fine. The assignment section is open. You may submit it at any time, but please make sure that you are able to submit it no later than May 24th. It will not be accepted past the deadline of May 24th. Good luck, and feel free to email me any drafts or any questions.